Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yep, yep. You hear me? Good morning.
Yes, I hear you. I hear
Okay.
you. Yeah. Yo, my apologies for not getting to you on time. I saw all
About
these
what?
other, you was talking about Dragon Age and video and stuff, and yo, I went to sleep. I had a migraine, and
Don't worry about that.
it
That's
was,
just talking to talk, dude.
yeah, I got it, but I know. I mean, for me, bro, it's kind of like when somebody doesn't respond. I kind of get kind of weird.
Nah, you don't have to worry about that. I don't get. There's no reason for me to get like that with you, especially because I talk to you like every week. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean,
Oh, you don't have to
sure.
worry about that.
Dang, I didn't know we talk every week like that. I have to apologize
Yeah.
to Emma. She's like, she's like, yo, Deal, you don't talk to me no more. You talk to Ibani.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying like
I'm
there's
playing, dude.
nothing.
I'm
Yeah.
playing. I'm playing. I was saying that I get more attention than the lady.
Nah, that's definitely not the case. Even when I go in the office, like me and her are on the phone for like the first hour of my work because I'm the only one who's there at 6 in the morning.
Got you.
So me and her like kind of chit chat while I run the morning reports.
Oh, that's so cute. I don't mean to say it that
Yeah,
way, but that's cute.
yeah. I mean, it's good because keep the communication up, and
Yeah.
especially because we're still planning things out, like what like the next house and stuff.
One second.
You have a lot of stuff for today, or or not so much. Hello?
Hey, Deal, give me 1 second.
Oh, no problem.
I got some content today. Um,
Okay.
got some content. What about you?
Not really much to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Kind of, kind of like stuff we've been kind of talking about like that new Steam Deck.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
That's like definitely a big thing. Um,
Yeah, we definitely gonna talk
Nintendo's
about that.
still not really. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about it because there's just so many layers to it, especially with that OLED. Is not that much of an upgrade, and not only that, they're still dealing with Joy-Con drift. I could like personally attest to that. Like me and I know other people who keep dealing with Joy-Con drift, and they're still not really doing anything about it. You know,
But
so it's really pathetic at this point.
there's gonna be a good conversation for both of us. We're gonna go back and forth on that one. I can
Oh
see
yeah,
it
for
now.
sure.
I can see it now.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of tempted to get the Steam Deck.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
because I have some opinions and it's good. So
Okay.
so we'll talk about that. Um, I pulled down some notes and I think it's some great discussions, um, topics because I re you know I one thing I know I gotta stop doing is putting my opinion before the actual research because my opinions are opinions that are worth being opinionated for, but
Of course.
when there are solid facts, it just shows that I didn't because I didn't do the research. I might sound kind of weird because like everybody else probably saw it and they kind of like, nah, that's not the case. You need to check out the video or read the document, whatever. So I got some things on there. I'm probably gonna apologize also on stream too because of a hypothetical discussion last week actually that you brought up. So
Well, there's
it's
nothing
not,
to apologize about, but you could always go more into it, right?
yeah,
Because
you know,
when you're going hypothetical, like you're literally stating like, hey, this is just something that might happen. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying what might happen. It's not like you work for the company and you're spreading false information. What you're doing is just saying like what you would like to happen or what you think might happen. You know what I mean?
right, right,
So
yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I'm looking for something and I'm
I
not
mean, there's a lot of
finding it.
EA shit, and I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah,
sure that Don wants to talk about.
bro, bro. I got notes on that too. That's interesting. Well, there's something that hit this morning about Ubisoft we'll be discussing,
Really? Okay, I
and
didn't see that yet. Okay.
and it's not good.
Oh
It's
no. Okay.
it's not good. Um, but I'm supposed to be thinking of something. Let me see buffer. Oh, that's right. Did I already post it? 35? No. 5. Export the graphic. And then. So I signed up to be a developer for the Idea Xbox. $19 individual. And then it's like $100 for company. And with the $100 one, you get analytics and all this other bells and whistles. It's a one-time fee, pretty much. But
Huh?
I did the individual because I wanted to test the waters first. Didn't want to go
Yeah.
in and then get lost. And even with the individual, I still got lost. So it's a good thing I didn't get the other one yet. Um, because I still have to submit a thing to Epic to give me the rights to have the tools to post to create a game in development for the Xbox. So,
Oh no.
well, it's not that they won't give it to me. It's more like it's more like they have to release code, and I think it's
Nah, I'm saying oh no for something else.
oh okay, gotcha. Oh, you're reading the
Um,
Ubisoft thing?
no. So the main reason I didn't get the Steam machine was because I did try to get it, but I guess everyone was trying to get it at the same time, so it was acting stupid, right? So like the purchase didn't go through.
Uh-huh.
But Steam has very good customer support. I've never seen this before. It
Uh-huh.
recognized that I tried to do it, and it held its spot for me,
Uh-huh.
and it said I had 72 hours to attempt to purchase again.
Uh-huh.
So while we were talking, I pre-ordered it.
Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna I will talk about
So I
it.
guess I'll bring that up too because
Yeah, we'll
I
talk
couldn't
about
help.
it.
I oh man, the only reason I was willing to like just be like whatever because I don't know.
Well,
Well, yeah, we'll
well,
talk
yeah,
about
we'll
it.
talk about it. But here's my question though:
Yeah,
the pre-order is just a holding space, right?
correct. So you're putting $5 down.
Okay, cool. I'll I'll look into that myself. But I guess you can't, right? You know
Can't
what?
what?
Let me just go ahead and do it.
You could try to see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure situation is like this Series X and the PS5
Yeah, I'm going for the
because I went.
highest version too.
I did too. Yeah, I went for that 512 GB.
It's NVMe. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well go all the way. Especially if I want that SSD to like be quick and everything.
Go big or go home. Hey yo, give me a quick second because
Ow.
I'm using my stationary mic and
No worries.
I have to go get my
Yeah, yeah.
wallet.
Oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh, shit.
talk about it because I believe personally that. Well, never mind. We'll talk about it. Well,
Yeah.
let's keep the energy of our woes, and because I know Donci's AG probably was like, so he's gonna be shocked when you hear.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, it's not really his thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
so.
But it's here's a we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it now. He's here. He's here. We
Oh.
can't talk about it until it's time to talk about it.
Yeah. Gotta save it. Gotta save it.
We gotta preserve the bro. Your voice is static, bro.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's a nasty static too.
oh.
I was confused for a minute. I thought it was Chain.
Chain is not in here.
I know, but that's usually how it was when Chain was in here.
Ooh. Ooh.
Hello?
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, that is bad.
Maybe disconnect and connect again or something?
Tell me that's not your new headphones.
I hope not.
Because I think everyone. No, we'll talk about it. I don't know why I keep trying to talk about it. 1, 2, 3.
What about that?
Oh yeah, that is beautiful.
Much better.
Almost
Okay.
sexy, bro. Almost.
I don't know what
sexy.
happened there.
Almost sexy. Not as sexy
Almost.
as me, but yeah, man. I'm
In
the
that case, we
sexiest
gotta
in
try
here.
again.
he's like I gotta try it again. No man outbeats my sexiness. I'm telling you, I am the Don Dada. I got some stuff. You got some stuff done?
Me? Ooh, sorry, that thing almost fell over. That was really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a lot, to be honest. I feel like there wasn't really much going on in my world.
Okay. Cool.
Plus, I only just woke up 24 minutes ago.
Damn.
So that was fun.
All right, so we got some stuff.
I thought you would have been all over the EA news. There's so much that happened this week with EA.
I did hear about something, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
Oh, okay.
I heard something about when they being held hostage to information, something like that.
Yeah, that is one thing. And then there's other stuff too that you would definitely find pretty scummy.
Ooh, I'll have to look into that.
Oh, it got reserved. So
Oh, you did? You got it?
yeah, I got it. So
Okay, cool.
Let me close that. Let me close that. All right. It is 55. Let's start. Let's end this. What is going on, everybody? This is the Digital Cypha. I am here with my crew, the Don CJG and Dio Zales. What is going on, you guys?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Feeling great.
Awesome. We got some awesome news today, and so for those who don't know, again, this is Digital Cypha. We are highly opinionated gamers who look at the industry, the news that's going on today, and we just give you our viewpoints. We also give you some things that you may not have heard about across the world of gaming. Those happening outside the U.S. because we're either weebs or we're across the pond British folks who watch football all day. Anyways,
Oh no.
Oh,
This guy, I feel attacked.
Hey, attacked, man! I came in for the slide. I took the ball and I made a goalie in your court. Here we go.
Listen,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
listen. I'll take the L this time.
Okay. All right.
Just wait.
We got lots and lots to talk about. So to begin, if you haven't heard, EA was attacked by hackers, and they made some demands just like they did with Cyberpunk. And they threatened EA to pay that money or they start releasing increments of data. Now, I know my boy Dio got some info on that. I got the minuscule stuff. It was a short paragraph.
Yeah,
that
I
read.
saw headlines about this, so this is a relatively new story to me.
Okay. All right. What you got, Dio? What's going on with that?
Well, from my understanding, some of that information that was taken is literal source code for the Frostbite engine.
Ooh.
That's a pretty big deal. Because they
That is
really,
crazy.
really want all their devs using it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was really shocked to see that. And even source code for FIFA 21, which I guess pretty big deal, but I mean, that Frostbite engine, I can't believe they got through to that. That's like
Yeah,
the baby, right?
Right.
It's like the heart.
that is the crown jewel locked up in a glass cage, put surrounded by lasers, and they got free.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
I think one of the most interesting things about this is that it's such a big news story that it even ended up on CNN Business, which I was pretty surprised about because,
Oh.
I mean, you're used to like your Otaku and your Polygon and stuff like that, but CNN Business is reporting this stuff too. Like, wow, that's going to hurt, I think, their stock prices.
Mhm.
It definitely will. I mean, let's consider the fact that they may have to consider going the Unreal Engine route, and like if it gets out of there, that's intellectual property being used, right? And that's bad.
They're saying that no player information was taken. I mean,
You're right,
take that with a
privacy
grain
and
of
stuff
salt.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, what would affect the company? And I thought when I heard that the what is it called? I thought it was just like numbers, you know what I'm saying? That would be the thing. But that when you say the Frostbite engine got taken,
Yeah. I mean, to me, you would think it would be easier to get people's information than it would be to get the Frostbite engine. I don't know.
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh-huh. It shows you the
Um,
extent of what they managed to do, all right? So,
Yeah, I mean,
this is I think they're making it very obvious. This is not a light. It's not a light attack. Like, hey, look, we're serious.
no, definitely not. I mean, they're saying that they're doing things to fix the situation and they're beefing up their security. But I mean, at this point,
bit
what
late
can
for
they
that.
really do? Yeah.
But this is your engine. You're supposed to have fortified your network because your engine is your bread and butter. Everything is Frostbite. Even the
Yep.
new Battlefield 2042, right? Frostbite
Oh
engine.
no.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So if that is your bread and butter and you're going to go to a service-based solution, right? You would want to fortify your network in a way that you can detect DDoS, you can detect, malicious traffic. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Because this is not no small company. You know what I'm saying? This
No.
is, we're talking EA, we're talking DICE, we're talking I forgot the guys who did Star Wars, the Star Wars game that blew up and everybody started jumping on board. I forgot the single player story.
Oh yeah.
I forgot
can't
the
think of
name.
name either.
I can't forget the name
Yeah.
and the game. That's messed up.
And I played a lot of it too.
Oh, but Apex Legends. I don't know if Apex Legends is using the Frostbite engine, but that is just one of the things that could potentially be within reach of this breach. So, it affects us as gamers when people do this stuff. So, paying attention to that is key. I look forward to seeing what happens. Not that it should destroy the company or anything like that, but how the company overcomes this, because this happened, but there's something else that happened too.
Well, I
PlayStation-
think before we move on, I think one of the things, like how you were saying, this affects gamers, and I guess just to put it on a bigger perspective, especially for PvP games, you're gonna see a lot more hackers because of something like this. Because that's what happens with.
That is the main thing I thought about too.
Yeah, because from my understanding, it was about 780 gigabytes of data that was stolen. So that's a lot of content, and the amount of things that these people are going to be able to create when it comes to selling hack software and stuff like that, so people can get the edge in games, especially on the PC version of games, is going to be ridiculous.
And the hacking market is already huge.
Yeah, I don't know how much this is going to affect 2042, but that's going to be a big turnoff if you're playing the game and that's all you deal with, right?
Exactly.
Just to get that last point in there for people who don't realize how big a deal that really is.
When we look at the history of what's been going on with EA, the whole thing with the monetization and then the selling of cards, right? I keep saying shark cards come to my mind, but Don
Yeah,
CJ,
or the FIFA packs, yeah.
the FIFA packs.
Yeah, they did
Prize
that.
mechanics.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the other thing with EA. What they're doing with FIFA 22, and it's they're locking that next gen upgrade between the I think it's Ultimate Edition of the game, which is like $100.
Yeah.
So it's just
It's
insane.
a free upgrade, but you have
which
to buy the
pay for.
Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, it's insane. So,
So how's it a free upgrade?
yeah.
Joke.
I feel like EA's been under heat, man, especially all the Titanfall drama that's been going on, and now this as well. They're really at the pointy end of a stick right now.
With the Titanfall stuff, is that like the DDoS attacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But
I
wait,
think Respawn.
Why
Came out
Titanfall?
clarified.
What did Titanfall do? Just be a part of E EA?
Well, Titanfall has kind of been under DDoS attacks and just hacks just for general ages ago, and I think the problem was people have been complaining that this game just isn't getting looked after because there's so many hackers in the game.
The lack of support, and this is PC.
Yeah, just the whole game in general. I think.
Yeah.
I probably PC, but that's why the whole Apex Legends got hacked with the whole Titanfall thing behind it.
Okay,
Like,
I am new to that. The Apex Legends.
Okay,
got
you didn't know
hacked?
about that?
No.
Apex got hacked for a couple hours, kind of promoting Save Titanfall 2 or whatever it was.
You
because-
get hacked by association.
Well,
I mean,
the thing.
is this? I know
Yeah,
it's their
well-
game. It's their game. They made it, right? So
Yeah. So I think it was hackers who ended up promoting this website about Save Titanfall 2, but I don't think they necessarily did it. But then they just came under fire because of that. And yeah, so obviously Titanfall's been in this really bad situation, and they managed to fix Apex in a matter of hours, right? It was under the same kind of attacks Titanfall's going under, but I believe someone at Respawn in a live stream basically said we've got like 1 or 2 devs working on Titanfall and fixing the issues there. So you got 1 or 2 people looking after a game that was being attacked by just constant DDoS and hacks, and it's just people are mad.
well, first I commend the devs for sticking to the community that still play that game, because that game is of age. Not super old, but that game came out with the Xbox One. I would assume. I
Right.
think way back then, right?
Mhm.
So to see it still prevalent and still strong within have its own community that the devs would push it, right? Make because they could easily say, hey, due to the situation and the amount of hours and expenses it would take to fix the issue, we're deciding to close the servers. It would be easy to do that, and then just stick to Apex. But they are respecting the community by fixing it. Now, the thing that's coming to my mind is with games coming to Steam.
Mhm.
Are we going to start seeing more hacks happening to IPs that normally would not have been in the situation of being hacked or being modified without the permission of the actual publisher / studio creators, so forth?
I think in general, you're just gonna see more hacking because it's just kind of the generation we live in now, right? More people are tech savvy. They're realizing it's a way you could make money,
Right.
one way or the other. Uh, it just kind of sucks because you would think a lot of these people who are willing to hack and DDoS and all these other like forms of malicious attacks
Mm-hmm.
are gamers themselves. So like in the end of the day, you're kind of hurting gamers more than you are hurting these companies. So why would you do that?
Well, I think they're doing a little bit more hurt than what they're doing a lot of hurt from this perspective. Do you know who the actor Kimura is?
Kimura. No.
Okay. So, due to the publisher who is creating Lost Judgment, the same with a studio who's pushing Lost Judgment, the same studio who brought to you Yakuza.
Yep.
The law firm that represents Kimura is the actor who plays in the Judgment series. So far, there's only two, Judgment and Lost Judgment. They're basically telling the studio and publisher that they don't want their games on Steam. Period.
Oh. Okay.
And I based on the reasons of what we're talking about, where players can manipulate the game as they see fit, and they don't want the actor to be misrepresented due to that type of exposure, right, from the community. Like, for instance, let's look at Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
and what happened to
Keanu Reeves.
Yep. And
Like
then
with the whole like
I
the
think-
sex and dating.
yeah, but it wasn't
mods.
just I mean, I don't know what it was. I don't know how they formulated it, but the sex scene in the game was manipulated in a way that made it look like you were getting down with Keanu instead of
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being seen, they're basically saying that they don't want their games on Steam or any PC platforms.
Okay. I mean,
and
that's
because of
understandable.
that, Lost Judgment is the last game they're gonna make.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow. So we're just stopping development.
Like Lost Judgment is unless something happens between now and after the release of the game, and then money is blowing up and people are buying it and getting the because there is an Ultimate Edition, and I'm assuming that comes with a figurine or whatever. But until something drastic happens where money is coming in and they can see it being something, they've already announced this will be the last the last game. The Last Judgment will be the last game within the series.
Oh wow.
Which then forces the team who made Yakuza to consider, okay, are we going to continue to make fighting games? Are we going to bring Yakuza back to its fighting roots? Versus
Yeah.
the
We're making your IP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
I-
one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess not to make a spoiler, right, for the game. I'm assuming he's gonna die in the end, probably.
You know,
If it's the last game.
I was thinking about it too. It's like, okay, since we can't do this, we have to kill this guy off. You know what I'm saying? You know, make everybody hate it at the end. You know, like I don't want that to happen because you know if you play Judgment, you fall in love with the character because you feel compelled to solve every case, to do every activity, to get into every event. So for you to kill off, for the studio to kill off the character, meaning you, the main person, look, I died at the end. I'm done. I'm walking away. Yo, where's Master Chief at? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's hard. And
Well,
that's
I
why
guess for some players that'll be nice because it won't be like a cliffhanger, right? Like it'll just be a complete game. So whether it's a bad ending where he dies off, or it's a good ending where he just lives happily ever after.
Yeah, it's a full story at that point, at least.
Yeah.
Now,
becomes full circle.
what I would like to see happen is in the game for Judgment, and I think it travels over to Lost Judgment because I saw the same character. There is a hit, just like Watch Dogs. There is the DedSec versus the corporation, whatever. There's this guy. He's a part of this group of people who he breaks away from, and they're about stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. It goes south, right? And so you, as the main character, ends up collaborating with this guy, right, who brings value to your team in Judgment, and he's also in Lost Judgment. So if he still exists, because again, this game has not been released. If he still exists in the game, by the time it ends, I would hope for a sequel because some of the things this guy was doing in Judgment was pretty cool, and I was like, yo, I could be that character too. That character is pretty cool. You're talking parkouring on roofs and stuff like that. It's pretty nice.
So you can like continue the story with different characters.
Exactly. You know, so they might kill him off and put somebody else up in there. So
Yeah, I would imagine that. So
yeah,
because I mean, they don't necessarily have to get rid of Judgment, right? Because I mean, it's just the actor himself.
right.
So I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I mean, you know, I think for the most part, people who like Yakuza really love Yakuza, and obviously they're liking Judgment. So whatever new IP they come up with, I'm pretty sure we'll receive. They always do a very good job.
Word. There have been some announcements. I think we discussed one last week. So Sifu has been delayed till next year. Of course, that was a part of the showcase, the state of play. And as of recent, Ghostwire Tokyo is also being delayed till next year.
Yes, I did see the Ghostwire. Yeah, I don't remember what that game is. I remember seeing it a long time ago. Yeah, and it's just and then I just completely forgot about it.
So based on the description, people have disappeared, and in place of those people, some spirits, perhaps demons, have taken over the area, and it's your job to kill them. Something like that. But the unfortunate thing is, both studios, I believe, are in Japan, and they're underneath lockdown. So you know, keep them up. You know, let's encourage them to keep moving forward with these games, because I know a lot of people are waiting for them. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Like, I know a lot of games got pushed back to this year, but you know, even now we're still seeing games getting pushed back to 2022 and maybe in 2023.
Yeah.
It's still that knockback effect, man. It's still happening.
Yeah. For those who are considering NetherRealms and TT Games to be purchased, Warner Brothers has come out to say that the studios are not being sold, but they're being a part of a merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery, AT&T Discovery. So we're still gonna have our ears to the wall about that, because there's still some discussion where people feel that Warner Media Discovery, that's the new name, Warner Media Discovery, would end up something's gonna still end up happening to those studio after the merger anyway. So just keep our minds on that, definitely for sure.
Yeah, because it was I remember hearing about it a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty solid documents about.
Well, it was coming from Jess Gordon, right?
Yep, Jez, and Jez is pretty. You know, he doesn't post stuff unless he's got credible documents for it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that this sudden switch around. I wonder if WB are just kind of playing bait with it, or that's the real scenario.
I mean, you don't want to say that you're losing anybody in the middle of a merger, or even
Right.
to your board of directors, if it hasn't been a solid decision. So, for someone
Yeah.
outside of the company to say this is going to happen, you know what I'm saying? It feels kind of weird, being on the inside. Like, look,
Yeah, I think he commented on it again last night, and I wish I remember what he said because I was watching the live stream. But he did. From what I took away, he seemed a bit confused as to suddenly change around too. But
Gotcha.
who knows?
Gotcha. Dio, I got some news for you, bro.
What's that?
God of War's Kratos. The voice of Kratos is gonna be the voice for the Black Panther on the new DLC for MCU.
Okay.
Or Marvel Avengers, I should say.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of a toss-up because the guy didn't want to do it. He didn't want to be Chadwick's replacement in character-wise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
voice-wise. But one, his family told him that they would abandon him if he doesn't do the job.
Wow. Damn.
And
Oh my.
wow. And abandon might be strong, but they did say they would disown him. So, and two, the people, I'm not sure who he's directly connected to because I don't have the story pulled up on my computer. I read it a while ago, but those who he's talking to about performing as the voice for Black Panther said that the Black Panther that he'll play would be different than the Black Panther that Chadwick played. When Chadwick
Yeah.
played the Black Panther, his father died
T'Challa,
and he was
yeah.
trying to, figure out how to be a superhero and a king at the same time.
Yep.
In this one, he has grown older. He is the king. His father still remains alive. And he is fighting. I guess he's having some form of dispute internally, as well. Perhaps with kingship, perhaps with the with the other Marvel characters and whatever. So it's gonna be a different take on the Black Panther. So we'll see about that. But
Yeah, an interesting thing I did read about that. I don't know if you were going to mention this or not, but originally it was stated to be like a 10-hour campaign. Apparently, it's now been boosted to like 20-25 hours.
Wow.
nice.
So
That's way
Yeah,
better
and
than any campaign in that game.
yeah, I think Avengers needs that, but that's a big.
Yeah.
That's basically doubling the length of your expansion.
I stand
I'm-
corrected. I stand corrected. The main character in the game was good.
Uh-huh.
She was good. The
Yeah.
girl Amala or Kamala.
Yep.
Yeah, that story was good, and I hopefully Black Panther will be as good or better than that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to breathe some new life to the game, and I definitely want the game to do well. I mean, like I said, I've always said this, like, the combat itself is pretty solid and it's fun. It's just the lack of content when it comes to endgame. Like, there's really nothing to do, and the microtransactions got to the point where they were just so, like, greedy that it didn't feel like it was worth grinding anything,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah. Well, I wonder if
that's
this
cool
would be the beginning of the turnaround for that game. You know.
maybe like a Rome Reborn, right? So,
Mm.
Really, dude? Really, 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 dude?
hey, they turned it around. There's a lot of games that I would wish I would see more of that happen, right? Like Anthem, for example.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Instead of them just
Definitely
completely
Anthem.
cutting it off.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Like,
It's
You
like
know.
the two big, game redemption stories, at least, within the FPS genre. I think covers Rainbow Six Siege and Master Chief Collection, right?
Yep.
Two big games that launched and very mediocre. but came round, and look up now, they're in their prime, and I think Avengers may be next on that list, but we'll see.
I mean, with Anthem, they could have easily done it when you think about it, because they could have literally did what Final Fantasy did with A Realm Reborn, like destroy the world and start over, like, because you had the Cataclysm, right? And
Yeah,
no
might
one
as
saw
well.
the Cataclysm. That content, at least I don't remember.
Yeah, that
Maybe
content
that
never made
content
it
did
out.
come out,
All
but
right.
Yeah.
that could have
Alright.
been it. That could have been what started everything all over, the Cataclysm.
Here's the thing, deal. Don CJG needs to actually like, because you said destroyed and brought it. So here's the thing, and the thing about it is, like, I wished that I was actually a part of the community when A Realm Reborn. Well, when Final Fantasy first came out, right? Because Asmongold was actually watching, and I think Dio saw this, right? He was watching the old content
Yeah.
and how brutal it was to play in that game, right?
Yes, I remember
But-
playing that.
But the one thing that he applauded them doing is when they destroyed the server.
Yeah.
They went out in blazing glory. You
Oh
know
yeah,
what
they
I'm
made
saying?
an in-game event of it. They had a
Exactly.
cutscene. It was done brilliantly, and he even said it himself. He said, "I could imagine if I was a player who stuck through all that terrible content and terrible gameplay and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and then it was rewarded with this, you would have a player for life."
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially considering how the game transformed.
Yeah.
If they
And-
put themselves through all that.
Now here's the thing. I think Anthem tried. I think Anthem tried to do the same thing. And they tried doing it by doing the 2.0 while people were still playing the game.
Mhm.
And it was just a decision through management. You see, and I think that's the main difference. When, like, BioWare really wanted to keep this game, and I think it's EA, right? EA
Oh, yeah.
had,
Yep.
had alternative means. When you have a studio backed by Square Enix, or I would even say backed by Xbox, right? Don't get it confused. Microsoft and Xbox, two different companies, right? And yeah, two different mindsets, right? So I'll put that out there. But let's just say Phil Spencer believed in this game that he would say you have your creative freedom to do whatever you want, right? And if the game had potential, I would think he would still support it. Like, for me, dear God, why the Scalebound could have been done, and I think it was more of a studio issue than a development issue. But I think, like, Square Enix, they believed in their game. They brought in a new director or game director, whatever, and
Yep.
he came through and he smashed it, man. He's made the best MMO. Of course, subjectively the best MMO, alongside World of Warcraft, and other games. So I think you have to really pay attention to the publishers in this case, and I think EA did not take the chance. They could have made Anthem 2.0 a success. They could have made it a reality, but as we see, Battlefield 2042, and then we see what's the other game that just came out? Mass Effect remastered. There were alternative means. So
I'll give you a scenario where it would have happened. So a scenario where EA would have backed the game, if it was Dragon Age the MMO, EA would have did it. But it was because Square Enix is guilty of it itself, right? Because Avengers is Square Enix in the end of the day. And
Yep.
when you look at Avengers, it's the same problem with Anthem. The only thing is that they haven't cut it off completely yet, like how EA did. The reason why Square Enix was able to do that and wanting to do that with Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy is like their oldest franchise. You can't let that die.
exactly.
That's just like, you can't do that. So
we're
I
talking
think
about Marvel too.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like
but
showing
still,
off that Marvel game.
even then, I
that
think it's,
contract would be a bit.
I
probably
don't
anchors
think
some
they
luck.
care as much just because of the fact that it's a Western IP. It doesn't have the same kind of clout that Final Fantasy does, because Final Fantasy is such not that Marvel's not established, right? Like I mean, lots of people love Marvel, but I think the player base when you look at Final Fantasy, like it's known for being a game. It's always been a video game. Where Avengers, it's has different markets where it's not a hardcore gamer kind of thing. You know, they're looking at this as a casual game. But I think Anthem would have had more of a shot if it was Dragon Age the MMO or Mass Effect the MMO. And even then, I don't know because EA, in the end of the day, is EA.
Yeah, I also feel like you're cutting off at if Square would cut off at Marvel Avengers game, right? That's that's angering big Disney, you know.
Oh yeah,
you know,
for sure.
we've lent you this IP, and you've just screwed the game, and then cut it off. Like that's not a force you want to mess around with, man.
But I guess
I could be wrong here, and let me know what your thoughts are. So, Marvel and Sony have this connection, right? This partnership. Right?
Marvel
only with Spider-Man.
Yeah, only with Spider-Man.
Well,
and Venom, I guess.
Disney does. Who owns Marvel?
Disney.
Disney owns Marvel, but
they don't have the rights to movies and games when it comes to Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but they technically own Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Disney and Square Enix being a third party publisher to multiple consoles. Okay, I thought Sony was involved in some way, form, or fashion with that.
No.
Anyways, all right, cool. All right. So, moving on. Don CJG, you ready?
Hello. I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay. Forza 5 will be using ray tracing for audio.
Yes.
This,
you know, I really wish I had watched that live stream because I'm actually really interested in that game. But it came out like 6 p.m. my time and I was busy and I just never got around to watching it. But I did hear about this.
Okay. You know,
cool.
I am technically savvy, but I'm not savvy enough to have comprehended what ray tracing and audio have combined. And this, so when I heard this, I was like, okay, I gotta read this because for the whole time I'm thinking ray tracing was all about lights. And this kind of came across as ray tracing being more of the type of technology to have anything bounce on surfaces.
Yep.
And be labeled ray tracing.
I think the ray tracing, the term ray tracing, been glamorized by just fancy lighting.
Right. Visuals.
For a while. Yeah. So I think when you initially read this as ray traced audio, because I know I did, I was like, what? I was like, what does that mean?
Right.
But then you kind of think about it a bit more. You're like, okay, I kind of interpret it as real time spatial sound.
Right.
I think that's probably a better use.
So you can, like, Dio, imagine this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have a you ever played a game that there's like a bubble around you is not visible to everybody else, but it's visible to you, and it's kind of like, either sound is muffled or amplified. It has its characteristics, right? But think about it. Let's I'm just giving you an idea for this bubble. Now,
being hit by like a stun grenade or something like that.
No, not stun, but no. Okay, so you are either walking or driving around, and this bubble around you, right, is emitting noise. Your car engine or your footsteps are bouncing on multiple objects to the point that you start hearing certain effects, whether it is dull, or it is echoed, or it is, you know what I'm saying? It has all these different effects depending on how far away it is. And I'm thinking like they're using the same reflection and light bouncing technology that they were coining for ray tracing for audio. And I'm like, okay, how is this possible? And how is this going to sound in the game? Because you're talking about we already know Forza 5 is going to be the ish, but it's now going to be the ish with the audio.
Yeah, and I think the audio is probably, I love Horizon, and I played a lot of Horizon 4 not too long ago, and the game's looks and sounds great, but you could tell the audio is definitely the weakest part of the game, right? Car engines don't really sound distinct enough, but I think now, investing the technology into that audio engine or the audio technology, something like this is going to make a huge difference. And I don't know if you've listened to the audio clip,
Yeah.
but it's insane. It's different. It's just way better.
I
Wow.
guess because my understanding of ray tracing is that it's pretty much like how physicists have helped game developers understand how natural light works, how it
Right.
like bends and moves within an environment. So I mean, I guess that's just the same thing that they're doing with sound. And how does, like how you were saying, like muffle, like how does it actually work within the real world?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
can see it being really, really good in the game. And I always go back to this game when it comes to sound, like Dead by Daylight. It is such an important thing in that game because if you're the killer and there's like a survivor like passing by you and you can't see them because you're in first person and they're in a bush or whatever, you're still gonna pick up like those little sounds of them like kind of moaning or crying because you hit them and they're like still injured. And that's
Yeah.
how a lot of the time you catch them, not because you saw them, but because you heard them. So having this go in a game like that where it's such a big deal, or even something like what was that other game, the by Ninja Theory with the girl?
Oh,
Hellblade?
God, Hellblade.
Yeah, something like that. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be insane.
Well, it's not about how, but when or if.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
Microsoft shares its technology. Like that, they were saying that the ray tracing visually is only going to be in the Vista, which I think is I don't know if I like that, but it's not really a game breaking situation.
Yeah.
But to see like Ninja Theory and what they're already doing with Project Mara and then Hellblade 2 and the visuals on that and to add audio to that. I'm not a kind of guy to go playing scary games, but I can imagine even those who enjoy getting frightened in movies and games, when that audio comes out, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, forget it. I mean, audio is such a big deal in horror games. It's like the big sell point for most of them.
Gotcha. Whew. So we were talking about people getting hacked, right?
Yep.
Apparently, Sony urges users to enable the two-form verification because people who are buying off of Sony are apparently getting some form of, they're being hacked somewhere, or they see like this irregular traffic of people trying to do things on their server, and they're warning their users like, hey, you want to use a two-form verification. Now, I got a problem with the two-form verification. Okay. There are certain instances where you will not be able to do something specifically unless you take off that two-form verification. Like for instance, when you buy something, when you log in to something specific, you won't get the two-form verification notification to check your phone. It will just say you enter the right password, but it still won't let you in. There were certain cases like that on the PlayStation 4 that I got that was going through, where I had to realize, I got this two-form verification going on. So this is gonna be one of those hit or miss situations with PlayStation, when they're gonna realize that that platform, that security platform that they're urging people to go to, there's a little bit of some what do you call it?
Some hiccups with it.
Annoying problems that they're gonna have to fix with that. But that's one thing. But it's interesting. I know you guys heard this. Netflix and Sony possible collaboration.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, does save Sony trying to make a Game Pass, right?
Well, I say that because don't they already have some form of a collaboration to put all Sony movie pictures on Netflix first?
Maybe.
I think something dropped a while ago where they did that. So now to see Netflix wants to jump into gaming, there's said to be some form of data mine information where they saw something regarding Sony and games. So it's whether it's I think it's more of a rumor with a possibility of being true. Possibility, I say a 10% possibility because anything can happen.
Yeah.
But if they're already a partnership in the first place, now all Netflix has to do is say, hey, we got these movies, we want to turn them into games. Sony will be like, okay, it's gonna cost you money,
Yeah.
but we can make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's crazy though, because in the article it talks about is gonna be no different than when they do those interactive movies. It's gonna be a part of your subscription if you already have Netflix anyway. They're not gonna change the price or anything. What do you guys think about that? Like,
I mean, it makes sense because instead of they get to split the resource costs pretty much, right? At that point, like where it comes to like Netflix being able to make all these different series, because in the end of the day, they both make very similar content. They just get interpreted in different ways, right? They're both making pretty much movies that people want to watch. So Netflix is making it where you're watching it, and then Sony's making it where you experience it. I just think that if people thought Game Pass wasn't going to be sustainable and it's just Microsoft doing it, how hard is it going to be when it's two companies splitting these proceeds, you know? So I don't know. It just seems kind of weird in that respect.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, I can see Netflix wanting to get into games, and I think it's smart of them to partner with another company like Sony.
Yeah.
You know, who's got established developers and whatnot already, instead of trying to make their own. Recipe Google Stadia. That strategy clearly does not work. But yeah, I don't know, man. It feels weird. It feels really weird. You know, am I gonna jump on my Netflix in a couple years and start playing Spider-Man Miles Morales? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I just wonder how much of the bill the consumer is gonna have to pick up, because they're gonna have to raise prices, right? I mean, of course there'll be like a standard Netflix that I think the majority of people are gonna use because not everyone's a gamer. But if you're a gamer and you want that PlayStation Netflix bundle, you know, and then not only that, how will that affect people who have an Xbox and watch Netflix on their Xbox? Like how, you know, Don was saying,
Yeah.
can I play Miles Morales on the actual Xbox, or can I only do that if I play Netflix through the TV? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I mean, I guess Netflix have the server infrastructure, you know, to support this kind of stuff. But you got to integrate your Sony hardware or whatever to run the games. And I don't know.
I could just see with Sony, like them making you buy a Sony controller, right? To access this, like they had to make money somehow.
Break 2 weeks later. It's gonna be great.
Well, making money from the end user, not really from the actual like Netflix, because Netflix probably would already be paying them to make a game for like not Castlevania, but we're talking about movies that were, I would say, published or completely produced by Netflix. There, you know what I'm saying? Like we see shows that Netflix have put out there directly, right? So if they, you know, they pass the buck to Sony, but then Sony needs that extra money from the consumer, right, to remain on top, or to have, you know, some form of, you know, presence, if you will, because we're talking about a Netflix platform, not PlayStation platform. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense completely.
I guess in my head, I feel like Netflix makes out better in this deal. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah. I feel that.
And I think that's the case too. Like, how is it gonna work? Because Sony is not really the type of person to share.
Exactly. It's kind of
Right?
weird.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's a really good
Um,
point.
so that either they have to create a whole new different platform for PlayStation, or to have something embedded into the PlayStation Now specifically for Netflix, or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a PlayStation Plus account, um, you have access to PlayStation Now and Netflix, and you can play for free on any game that Netflix puts out. Whatever the case may be, because there's some form of tie-in. I get what you're saying. There have to be some form of play for Sony to really, or PlayStation to really get leverage from this type of partnership.
Yeah.
But speaking about that, there was an interview that was done where Phil Spencer, he kind of made mention of the PlayStation controller and how his team is looking into
The internet has ran with this story. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Let's first start with this. How do you guys feel about the PlayStation 5 controller?
I've not heard anything really good about it, to be fair.
I'm talking personally. Like, you saw it, you heard people play around with the controller and use it for PC and for PS5. Like, what is your impressions of it?
I mean, it looks cool. If I were to use it personally, I feel like the adapt triggers will annoy me. I feel like having that pushback on triggers just, I can't see that being a convenience feature for me.
Right.
For me, I know. I mean, I've had Sony's ever since the beginning, and I've had Xbox since the beginning. But I mean, when it comes to pure layout, I don't like the D-pad location on a PlayStation controller, and they still haven't fixed that with a PS5 controller.
Yeah.
And
I remember that annoying me in the PS2 days.
yeah, and with the feedback, I am not really crazy to jump on that hype train because I mean, even with Switch controllers, which are practically the same thing, all it does is cause joystick drift, and that's just it's obnoxious. I don't know. I've never dealt with that with any of my Xbox controllers, so I don't know if you guys have.
Joystick drift? Oh, you're lucky.
Well, there's a difference between the Elite and the original controllers, sir. So.
Yeah, because my Elite Series 2, the second time has got stick drift.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so I just sent it off. Elite Series 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, I never dealt with it on the Microsoft end, so I never dealt with it until the Switch, when that Switch controller, and it drives me nuts. So it's like I didn't even care to try out that PlayStation controller because I was gonna get it for my PC just to play around with it, but then I was like, ugh, if it's using practically the same technology as the Switch one, I don't want to have to buy another controller every few months or whatever. I know there's a way to kind of fix it by cleaning it yourself and all this other stuff, but I shouldn't have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
Well,
but yeah, luckily, I like that Microsoft warranty. You can send it and get it fixed.
Well, the other part too to consider is, Microsoft, they are very heavy in their research and development, and one of the things that they would have to really look into is the battery life, because the battery life for the DualSense controller is not that great.
No, yeah, really.
Yeah, it's not that great. And that was the only bane of its existence, was how long it would stay on. So I think that, as well as with the other issues that you guys are talking about, there was somebody talking about playing a game like I think it was like a Battlefield, no, Call of Duty. I think he was playing Call of Duty with the DualSense, and it felt good, but it became a nightmare within a day of playing, because the responsiveness in the competitive shooting was not there, because of the feedback that he had to apply. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like you could shoot, like pull the trigger one. It's like it's shaking as you're pulling, so and it shakes when you shoot. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, the immersion is there, but then the responsiveness in a PvP high competitive match kind of does not have that sense of appeal to it. So that, I know Xbox controls, they're kind of on that level where is used for competitive use as well as Sony. But is it the right time for the controller to become the centric use for competitive use? And
I guess when you put it that way, it makes sense why Sony has gone this route, right? Because their games are about immersion and playing that single player narrative in a linear story, where Xbox has a lot more, at least is known for online play and PvP and stuff like that.
That's a good point.
And
I never really thought about it.
yeah, when you think about it like that, it makes a lot of sense why they're going this route, because you don't have vibrating mice, right? Like when it comes to PC gaming, no one on PC cares about that.
Yo.
They just want to play the game and be good at it.
Every time I hit the click, it goes. My mouse jumps, bro. Like, yo, it's crazy, son.
So it kind of makes sense that they've split out in these different directions. Because even with this Nintendo Switch, right? You have those Joy-Cons that are like that, where like the big selling thing, like when they were like selling it in the beginning, like it feels like you're putting ice in a cup, clink clink, and it was like, okay, like. But for people who are into those games that are being more and more immersed and they're playing single player games, it is nice, it is kind of cool. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking too, where it's better for those non-multiplayer experiences where the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers and everything would make sense because you're getting immersed, right?
Yep. But
yeah, man. How do you guys feel about the Steam Deck?
You saved it for last. Here we go.
How do you guys feel about the Steam Deck? That has been crawling over the internet for a minute now.
That came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, it really did.
I don't remember hearing any like leaks for hardware.
And like with perfect timing, right?
Right.
With that Switch OLED or OLED, however you want to say it. Like everyone was waiting for the Switch Pro that was gonna be.
I was waiting for the Switch Pro. I had money
aside
for the Switch Pro, son.
But there is a Switch Pro. Rob was selling it.
Yeah, right.
Nah, that's no Switch Pro. Cause Switch Pro was gonna be what 4K 30, or was it 1080p 60 or something like that?
Yeah, something to that effect. But
bro,
it was sounding awesome, right?
Well, okay, all right. I'm gonna let you go, Dio. You go ahead and tell them because I'll just go off. Just go ahead.
So at first, when I was looking at the Steam Deck, I'm like, all right, this is a cool piece of hardware. I mean, the price is not really what I want to pay, and I was just gonna look at it like, all right, well, we'll see how it goes when it launches. But like the more I thought about it, I was like, with the quick load times that it's gonna get from its SSD, and the equivalent of the power is pretty much a PS4 Pro or like an Xbox One X. You could play stuff like Doom Eternal and everything on it, and it's
play Halo Infinite on it.
Yeah, more likely. I mean, you're not just limited to Steam either. It's literally a PC, so you could play on the Epic Store and a Microsoft Store as well. Like when I started thinking about that, and I mean, you'll be able to put emulators on it and ROMs. You'll literally be able to play old PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games on a Super Nintendo and Genesis. When I started thinking about all that, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be pretty awesome. So that's what got me to reserve it.
I was a little down when I saw it. I was like, Steam handheld, what does that look like? And it reminded me of was it Game Gear or was it Neo Geo?
Game Gear.
Bro, I mean it was huge. Like even back then, it was huge. But then you basically was the person, like, yo, this is my joint. I got this. You know what I'm saying? And you're playing the game and people like, yo, and they wanna play the game. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else had Nintendos and Sega Genesis, and you had the Neo Geo, the Game Gear, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And bro, so the thing about it, I think it's gonna be good. I still kind of feel kind of weird about where the the sticks are at and where the directional pads and buttons and everything is at. But when I started hearing what you can do with it, and Dio, you were trying to tell me yesterday, but it does this and it does this and it does this.
Yeah,
I was like,
Discord chat last night was
and I was like,
but I still was being paid by Valve for a minute.
yeah, bro. He was like selling me on this joint, and I was like, bro, but it looks weird. It's like everything's on top. It's like it's not even in the center. And you know, I started looking at the ergonomics of the actual Steam Deck, and your palm is on the open area, and then everything is just on top of the actual device. So I said, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can work with this. But the homeboy said in the interview, if you want to, you can put any image of an operating system on this, and it'll be just fine. It's basically a PC in your hand. A PC that in your hand, that's a controller, right? So if you want to run a Linux operating system type of, like, for instance, what if Atari allowed you to have its OS for its game, for its console, you can put it on the Steam Deck. You know, if Microsoft comes off, or I should say Xbox Game Studios comes off with a Game Pass operating system, just like for mobile devices, they can say for this, you can download it here for free, of course, you know, because you're a paid subscription. So you go to whatever and you download it. It goes into your Steam Deck, and boom, you're good to go. You know, so I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Well, you'll definitely have Game Pass because you could put Windows on your Steam Deck, and then you'll have the Microsoft Store there.
Bro, I would dual boot. I would dual boot into both operating systems. That's what I would do. Hook it up to my monitor.
You could do that. Yeah, you could hook up to your monitor, to your TV, and even if you really don't like the control layout, I mean, what's to stop you from like hooking up an Xbox controller to it?
Yo,
I was on the PC.
I was thinking, yo, is this thing gonna be Bluetooth? Can I just connect Bluetooth to it, and then it just stands up there like a switch, and I'll play some game? You know what I'm saying?
Pretty sure
like,
it did say that.
That would be nonsense.
Yeah, and Bluetooth support controllers, accessories, and audio.
And it's running an NVMe, right?
Yep.
Hard drive. Well, it's not. You can't say hard drive. It's an NVMe. I think M.2, or I'm not sure what the actual brand is, but it's running an NVMe. Did it talk about the battery life on that?
I think it was like 6 to 8 hours or something like that.
6 to 8 hours.
Not bad.
Got
Yeah.
you.
And it even has like you could literally like hardwire Ethernet into it also if you really wanted to.
Hardwire
you don't have
Ethernet?
To use yeah.
Nice.
Like hardline. Yeah.
So here's my question. Why didn't Nintendo do this?
Because they've... Go ahead.
Because they had a monopoly on the mobile side, right? That's what it comes down to. It's just like World of Warcraft right now. Like the main reason Final Fantasy, and I'm not taking away from Final Fantasy at all, it's a great game. But the main reason it's been able to blow up the way it is just in this past like month is because Blizzard has gotten complacent, is let World of Warcraft get stale. When I look at the systems in Final Fantasy 14, they're literally things that WoW used to do and got rid of, and that's what makes this game more fun. Like in the end of the day, Final Fantasy 14 is WoW. They're the same game. All MMOs are. They just had different skins. You know, you like Final Fantasy universe, you like WoW universe, but they had messed up, and now Nintendo's pretty much doing the same thing. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna. I mean, it's gonna be pretty hard for them to recover from this.
This is a hard clapback.
They have to spend some money. They spend that Switch money.
I think the only saving grace for them is the fact that I think most parents are not gonna want to buy this for their kids, right? At a price point. And when they look at this, they're gonna look at it like, oh, this looks like it's gonna be more fragile compared to a Switch, even though the Switch is pretty flimsy anyway.
But we got a
especially
problem
compared
here,
to like
Dio.
old Game Gears.
We got a problem, Dio.
What was that?
Okay, because they already got Switches, right?
Yeah.
And then out comes the OLED. Mommy, daddy, there the OLED. It has a bigger screen. No, you got a Switch. It's the same thing.
Yep.
And in flies Game Pass with his cape, saying for only $14.99 on any device you can play
Yep.
500 plus games.
Oh yeah.
And then Steam Deck comes out and says, "You have Game Pass, you can play it here too." You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand Nintendo has a monopoly on the mobile gaming side of things. But I agree with Dio is that they really depended on that monopoly with the technology that they had in it as well.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because if they went outside of that technology, then they would be competing in some way, form, or fashion. People would start comparing them to, like, they're already doing it with the Steam Deck. But what separates Steam Deck from all the other consoles is that they labeled it a PC in your hand. You know what I'm saying? So you can't technically call Steam Deck a console. But if Nintendo Switch was comparable to a Xbox One, PS4, or Xbox Series X or PS5, then regardless if it's handheld or not, it is still gonna fall within that rivalry of devices. Like, even like it's this the Switch blows out the competition, both Xbox and PlayStation, period. But people are not talking about it. People are not like the community is not even there telling PlayStation haha. You don't hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because everybody has one.
Yeah. But now they have a different choice.
For me.
Exactly.
But I think it's still Nintendo will still be viable to an extent because it's just kind of like what happened where, like back in the old days, right? Like when Nintendo 64, it was considered like the kid station, right? Where you had the PlayStation and you had a Dreamcast for the adult gamers, and then with the GameCube, you had the PS2 and you had the Xbox for the adult gamers, and I think the Switch kind of brought it back where it was like, okay, you can get this for kids, but it's still cool for grown-ups because of all the indies and all those other games.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this Steam Deck is gonna kind of put Nintendo back into that. Oh, that's for the kids. You know?
Definitely, I can see that. I feel like if you're I'd say more of a gamer game. I hate using that word, but I feel like the Steam Deck's probably better. Like I don't own any other console device other than my Xbox Series X, right? But I feel like if I was to jump into one of these markets, I feel like the Steam Deck's the one. It's got a bigger variety of games. It's just more flexible as a piece of hardware. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I've messed around with Switches. I got to play Mario Odyssey before it came out at a convention, and I was using Switches there, and it was alright. It's an alright piece of hardware, but I just not, I can't say I was ever really impressed by the Switch. Not to say it's, I think the people who use it and the games are on there, it's great, but it doesn't really go outside of that.
Yeah.
But now you look at a Steam Deck, it's like, this is. I think Valve answered the question no one was really asking, and that was, what would a handheld PC look like? And they just kind of plopped it into our hands. And it's looking cool.
Another thing for gamers is that one thing that kind of sucks about having a Switch, just like any other console, is that you had to pay that extra fee for playing online. But when you look at Nintendo's version of online play, it's not even on the same level as like Xbox's what they offer, and I would even say like the PlayStation Network. I mean, they're better deals.
Do they have a party chat now in Twitch? I remember that was.
No, they don't. Nope, still don't have it. Unless you have an app on your phone to do that. Which, I mean, why not just get Discord at that point? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, when you think about it, the Steam Deck is not going to suffer from that because it's literally a mobile PC. So you're not paying an extra third-party subscription, and like you already said, like it's gonna have the Game Pass on it passively.
Right.
So if you already
I
have
mean,
Game Pass and
it's
you're a
the,
Microsoft player, I mean, it's like a no-brainer, right?
so when I said it's gonna have Game Pass on it, what I'm saying is that um, it's funny. It's funny because it should be the other way around. But the Steam Deck is compatible to Game Pass as far
Yeah,
as
of course.
a viable product. Um, so the and how that's possible is, again, I reiterated that the Steam Deck operates like a PC and not as a console.
Yep.
Consoles are proprietary devices with OS or operating systems um, that you can't modify. The Steam Deck has Steam and
Yep.
will allow you to have other apps on there. So this is gonna be really cool. This is gonna be. I think we're gonna start to see a shift in Nintendo. The question is when.
Yeah.
Dio, if they don't do anything, what do you fear would happen?
I would say if, like I said, like naturally, I think it's gonna go back to its kid market, which is gonna kind of suck because they were making very good progress. But worst case scenario, I think they're gonna have to merge with someone like Microsoft. I mean, there was already talks about that like years ago, right?
Mhm.
So, what would be there to stop it if the Steam Deck became very mainstream?
Yeah.
So,
hmm Yeah, I feel like they're gonna lose, or at least a portion of their adult market is gonna shift over to the Steam Deck. 100%. I can't really see kids using Steam Deck. I feel that'd be a bit of a weird sight.
Well, you'd be
But-
surprised though.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I feel like it could happen.
yeah, because there's 3 price points, right? Like, I mean, the parents could obviously get the kids the cheapest version, and it's still
Yeah.
gonna be really good. So, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see where it goes. I think everyone wins in this situation, right? Like, everyone gets caught up in the whole, console war sometimes, and like, who doesn't win in this situation? If you're a gamer and you have this, especially someone who doesn't really care to play on the PC itself, but like, you buy this, you could play Microsoft games on it. You could even play some of the PlayStation games that are coming out on Steam, like Death Stranding and the Horizon or whatever, and that's just awesome for anybody. It's gonna be definitely a
True.
new direction that game is gonna go into.
Yeah, interesting you said console war there too, because I feel like Nintendo have always kind of gone out of a console war thing, but I feel like maybe they're in their own war team.
Yeah, this is gonna drag them into it passively.
Mhm.
So
I mean, they've
with
been shying
that-
away for too long.
With that being said, right? Again, it's been an awesome show. And I've decided I will pre-order the Steam Deck.
Oh, he's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it as well.
He's doing it live on show.
So,
right now.
so the prices of the Steam Deck: 64 gigabyte hard drive at $400.
Yep.
I think it's $549 for the 256, right?
So it's $399 for 64 gigs, $529 for 256 gigs, and then
29.
$649 for 512 gigs.
Yes.
Plus, the 529 and higher also get that, the NVMe SSD, where the 64 gig is not getting that SSD. So that's another thing to take into account.
So
Mhm.
That base model doesn't have that SSD, which is actually a pretty big deal.
if you're considering on getting this, it's $5 to pre-order and save your money until the end. That's all I can tell you.
True. And
mhm.
another thing is that the base model and the middle model both are expected 2022 on the second quarter, but the one me and you reserved are expected Q3 of 2022.
Okay.
Mm.
So that's another
So
thing to
that
consider
wait list
also.
is gonna be serious.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that was actually one of the things that kind of deterred me in the beginning was I tried to order it, and I mean everyone else was, I guess, too. So it like pretty much closed out on me, and I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just continue my day. And this morning when I went to go check my email, it said we noticed that you tried to do this. We reserved a spot for you. You have 72 hours to try to reserve it again. And I was like, you know what? With that kind of customer service, I'm gonna do it.
And they got you.
Yeah, they got me because if not for that, I wouldn't have did it. I mean, that to me, that's pretty
That's
awesome
smart.
customer service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
So, one thing that I'll say though, which I think, and I hate to say this, this is pretty ironic. I remember one of the big people in Nintendo saying with the Wii and the Wii U transition, they got too complacent with how long they waited until they transitioned to Wii U, and the marketing they used was completely terrible because everyone was confused on what the Wii U was compared to the Wii, and they said they weren't gonna let that happen again. But we're literally seeing them do this again with the Switch.
But they know what the Switch is.
Yeah,
That's
they definitely know what the Switch is.
Yes.
But do
But-
we know what the Switch is?
But when it comes to the OLED or the OLED, I think it's gonna suffer from the same problem that this Wii U did,
Okay.
where you have grandma and grandpa saying, "Hey, you already have a Switch. Why am I buying you an OLED Switch?"
Right.
Because that was literally what happened with the Wii U. People were like, they're thinking it's like an add-on to the Switch, right, or something
Right.
like to that effect.
Hmm.
So I think even with that respect, they would have been better off just coming out with that Switch Pro. Because when you hear Switch Pro, you're thinking, oh, it is the Switch, but a better version of it. Where this OLED, like it just sounds like from an old person's point of view, they probably think it's just something to do with the lighting in the Switch, right? Like I don't know. There's just so many things wrong with this whole move that they made with the OLED. I just wanted to
Mhm.
kind of get that out there.
Hey, look, this is the awakening. This is it. The turning point for Nintendo, bro.
Yep.
I'm calling
Yeah.
it. Watch it. 2025, Nintendo has been purchased.
On that note, again, this is Digital Cypha alongside with Ebonics, Deozales, and the Don C's AG. You heard from us as we discussed a lot of topics here. We are here every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or what is that, Don C's AG?
That would be 3 p.m. British summertime.
Awesome. Awesome. So until then, feel free to hit that subscribe and like button. Just let us know how we're doing. And as we get closer to that 1,000, follower mark, I know we're hitting that 30, so it's a long way to go. But
Almost
thank you
there.
guys- Yeah, but thank you very much for being a part of the community. That helps a lot. So definitely follow and subscribe. And until then, you guys have a great weekend and keep gaming.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.